Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the price of Ethereum is still forming this ascending triangle pattern, but we are also forming a brand new pattern that is just about to break. In a moment, I'll be sharing some brand new Ethereum price targets for you guys to pay attention to. Later in the video, I'll also be talking about Ethereum valued against Bitcoin, because right now we are seeing a small bounce after that bullish divergence. And on top of all of that, towards the end of this video, I'll be showing you guys the Ethereum dominance chart. This is really important for all Ethereum holders. So definitely make sure you're watching this video all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to drop a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this one every single day. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Ethereum to US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And as I said in the intro of this video, and also over the past few days here on the channel, we are still forming this ascending triangle pattern. Previously, I had this support line drawn like that, but that was actually cutting off a lot of these recent wicks that we've just seen over the past 1 to 2 days. So I've simply readjusted this line to fit in some of those wicks so that this line of support is a little bit more accurate. And right now that's coming in at around 3,420 approximately. And the resistance is still coming in at around 3,630. So obviously a break above resistance is bullish, a break below support is bearish. And anytime we break an important level on the chart, we need to see some sort of confirmation. So if we break the support, for example, we need to see a spike or a surge in volume, and preferably if we could see a retest of that previous support level and flip it into resistance, that can act as confirmation as well. And it's the exact opposite if we see a break to the upside, obviously flipping that into support. Also seeing a strong candle close below the line of support or above resistance, that can also act as confirmation. So I use all three of those confirmation methods in my strategy, but it's important to mention that we don't need to see all three, just one can be enough, but obviously the more confirmation the better. And if we break the resistance, then the technical price target is still coming in at just above 3.9k, so pretty close to 4,000 US dollars. And if we break the support, then the technical price target is coming in at around 3.1k, just above 3.1k. And what's interesting about that lower price target is that's actually the brand new price target out of the brand new pattern that is forming in the Ethereum chart. So within the ascending triangle pattern, we actually have a small head and shoulders pattern forming for Ethereum. We've already seen the left shoulder, we've already seen the head, and we've already seen the right shoulder. All we're waiting on now is a potential break below the neckline. It's important to mention that while we're still above the neckline, this pattern is not confirmed. It only is confirmed if we see a strong break below the neckline. And so obviously that's the same level of support that I just mentioned, and the technical price target for this head and shoulders pattern, if we do see a break below that neckline, that's coming in at just above 3.1k, more specifically at around 3,120. And also what's very interesting about that sort of price target down there is that's almost exactly where we previously found strong resistance for the Ethereum price. And usually when we find resistance and we break above it, that usually flips into support. And that level of resistance back here, that's coming in at around 3,150 to 3,160. But even before those sort of levels can come into play, we still have a pretty important Fibonacci level coming in at around 3,280, so pretty close to 3.3k. And of course, that's the 38.2% Fibonacci level, which is actually the second most important Fibonacci level. The most important is the golden pocket. And something else to mention is we've already confirmed that 3.3k level approximately as support previously here on the chart. But the most important thing to take away out of all of those lower price targets is the fact that none of those price targets will come into play, obviously, if we remain above this line of support. When you're bringing out the price oscillators here on the 4-hour time frame, obviously the RSI and the MACD are still trending to the downside, at least in the short term on the smaller time frames like the 4-hour. And what's very interesting about the RSI in particular is the fact that we're finding strong resistance along this exact line of resistance. Right now that's coming in at around 48 on the RSI on the 4-hour chart. And just going back to the last time we saw something similar in the Ethereum charts, that was all the way back here in around the middle of September. So obviously while this was happening, the price of Ethereum was trending to the downside just in the short term, kind of like what it has been doing over the past couple of days. And then what you'll see here is when the RSI started dipping into oversold areas, that was one of the first signs that we were getting ready to bottom out. But in this case, the bottom was confirmed once we started breaking above this this downward sloping line of resistance in the RSI. So at that stage, this line of resistance was coming in at around 30, which is at the very bottom of this purple band, and placing a vertical line right there at the exact moment we broke back above that line of resistance. That was literally at the exact price bottom, as you can see here. So going back to the present day, we're still clearly getting held under this line of resistance, but we're getting closer and closer towards oversold areas. They will come soon enough. And the moment we start breaking back above this line of resistance, that's how you know that it's very likely Ethereum is bottoming out and we're getting ready for another move to the upside. And like I said, that's going to come sometime soon. On the current trajectory that we're in, just extending this line out even further from where we are right now to perhaps where this line starts entering into oversold areas, you're talking about nearly 8 days from now. So probably within the next 1 week, we're going to start bottoming out and seeing another move to the upside. But obviously, I'll be keeping you guys updated on this on the channel and also in real-time updates over on my Twitter. So seriously, if you're not following me over on my Twitter, definitely make sure you're doing that. And the link to my official Twitter is in the description down below. We're actually just about to hit 30,000 followers and I can't thank you guys enough. And just another really quick update, we're still currently forming the inverse head and shoulders pattern here on the Ethereum chart. And like I've been saying over the past few days here on the channel, we actually need a little bit of bearish price action in the short term in order to finish this pattern. And right now we're seeing exactly that. So we could even see a little bit more, or we could start bottoming out here. But either way, we've pretty much got a good right shoulder starting to form here. And by the way, even though I've got the inverse head and shoulders pattern drawn out like this, I'm not saying that that's exactly how the right shoulder has to form. For example, it could take a little bit longer or it could be a little bit bigger or shallower. But either way, just as long as we form some sort of right shoulder here, which is what we're doing, and break that neckline, that is bullish. And if you want to know the exact price target for this pattern, definitely check out my Ethereum video that I posted yesterday on the channel. And just really quickly checking out the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart on the 4-hour time frame. As you can see, we're finally playing out that bullish divergence that I've been talking about over the past few days on the channel. For the complete beginners out there, a bullish divergence is when we're seeing lower lows in the price but higher lows in the RSI, and that's exactly what we formed here. And what a bullish divergence means is the sellers are actually losing momentum and we're due for a little bit of a bounce here, or at the very least some sort of sideways consolidation, and that's what we're beginning to see now. But keep in mind that we still have resistance levels now for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. For example, this range of previous support should be now acting as resistance, and right now that's coming in at roughly around 0.064 Bitcoin per Ethereum. A strong break above that range of resistance there would obviously be very bullish for Ethereum and potentially open us up for an inverse head and shoulders pattern on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. But that scenario just there is obviously just speculation at the moment, so don't take that as a prediction or anything. I'm just letting you guys know of that point of resistance and the fact that we should be due for at least some sort of sideways consolidation, just basically reduced selling pressure, as I said earlier. Now taking a look at the Ethereum dominance chart on the 12-hour time frame. As the name suggests, this chart shows Ethereum's market share over the entire crypto market. So for example, right now we're sitting at 17.7% according to this chart. So that means out of all of the money in crypto altogether, 17.7% of it is sitting in Ethereum. So obviously, if this is moving to the upside, that means Ethereum is stealing market share away from the rest of the crypto market. So when this is heading to the upside, that means Ethereum is outperforming a lot of the crypto market. But when the Ethereum dominance is heading to the downside, that usually means that Ethereum is underperforming against a lot of the other cryptos out there. And since the middle of this year, back in June, the Ethereum dominance has found strong support along this exact trend line just here, as you can see. But what's happened just recently is we've actually broken this trend line and we've flipped it into resistance with 2 perfect rejections. So obviously, if you're looking in the shorter term, technically speaking, this is a bearish sign for Ethereum, but we're also just about to run into this massive range of support. Now, how did I find out this range of support? Well, if you bring out the Fibonacci retracement tool from this low that we formed back in March up to the high that we formed in the middle of May 2021, what you can see here is the 38.2% Fibonacci level coming in at an Ethereum dominance of around 17.3%, and that's the top of this range of support. And that range of support basically goes down towards the 50% Fibonacci level, and also what's coming in there is this bottom that we formed back in June. And when you're zooming even further out on the chart, this double top that we formed back at the end of January and the beginning of February this year was in this exact price range. So back then it was huge resistance, and then when we broke this price range, that flipped into major support for the Ethereum dominance. And so as I said earlier, we're getting very close to this huge range of of support, which is ranging from around 16.3% up to 17.3% approximately. If we start losing that range and actually breaking below that previous low that we formed back in June, obviously that would not be too good for the Ethereum dominance. And the reason why I'm looking at that range next is because, bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool again, that is the exact golden pocket. And zooming all the way out, something very interesting about the Ethereum dominance chart is since pretty much the beginning of 2020, so nearly over the past 2 years, the Ethereum dominance has been forming this giant ascending broadening wedge. We've seen 4 perfect touch points along this line of resistance, and we've also seen 4 perfect touch points along this line of support. Now, at some point, obviously, it will become impossible to meet this line of resistance again. We could perhaps do it one more time, but obviously, because this is an ascending line, it's eventually going to go beyond 100%, and obviously, Ethereum can't have over 100% dominance. But with that being said, this line of resistance is coming in at around 25% dominance for Ethereum. But yeah, just keep in mind that over time, it's naturally going to become less and less likely that we would actually make it up to that line of resistance. And currently, this huge line of support for the Ethereum dominance is coming in at around 14%. But keep in mind, towards the end of this year, in a couple months from now, this huge line of support will be coming into contact with the golden pocket range, and that's coming in at around 15% dominance approximately. So what does all of this mean for Ethereum? Well, it means that we do have a little bit of a bearish setup, but we have these price ranges in mind for accumulation areas. Right now, I am still dollar cost averaging into Ethereum, and as I always say, the biggest opportunities present themselves in a bearish market. And right now, looking at Ethereum dominance and Ethereum versus Bitcoin, technically speaking, we are in a bearish trend. Obviously, it's pretty much impossible to perfectly time a bottom, just like how it's basically impossible to perfectly time a top. So that's why averaging in and out of a market is one of the best strategies. That's not even my opinion. All of the best investors in the world say that. And so that's simply the strategy that I will be following when we're looking bearish here. I'll slowly be averaging into Ethereum, mostly using a bit of Bitcoin, but also having my regular dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum using fiat. And so when eventually we hit one of these ranges of support and turn around, I would have accumulated a decent position into Ethereum at potentially these lower levels. Because remember, if we're trending to the downside and you're averaging in, that brings down your average entry price the lower you average in. Obviously, none of that's financial advice. That's just telling you my Ethereum strategy and what I'm seeing on the chart right now. And if you enjoyed the video or got something valuable out of this video, be sure to drop a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future updates. And also, considering the amazing opportunity that we are potentially about to see in Ethereum, there's never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends and family to get everyone involved in this huge opportunity. And as always, I really do appreciate all of your support on the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. And just before I finish off this video, make sure you're checking out one of these 2 videos here if you haven't already. I've got a video showing exactly how I trade Bitcoin and Ethereum, and a video showing how I earn passive income every single day with no work required. But anyway, that's really it. I'm going to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.